Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be giving you a detailed makeup tutorial, a step-by-step guide on how to achieve a flawless makeup look, beginner friendly. So let's get right into it. I usually start off with my skin, but for the sake of this video, because I want to show you a step-by-step routine, I'm going to be starting off with my brows. I'm going to be starting off with the positioning of the brows. This is where your brows are supposed to start from. It's beside the bridge of your nose to the end of your nose, and your arc is meant to be measured this way. I'm measuring from your under eye towards your hairline. This is where your brows are supposed to stop. Your brows are not supposed to exceed that area. You'll be needing a brow pencil and a brow gel for this, or an edge control in place of the brow gel. I'm going in with a spoolie brush and my brow gel. You want to make sure your brows are very well laid before drawing. I'm just going to further use my hands and lay it down the more so it stays in place. To get a perfectly outlined eyebrow, you will need to start with a sharp pencil. The pencil I'm going in with is a roller pencil, so I do not need to sharpen the mouth because it's already precise. But if you're using a regular pencil, make sure you sharpen before using. You want to start by carefully outlining your eyebrows from the base, not the top, starting around the arc areas of your brows and then extend it to the beginning and to the end. Then I'm going to define my arc. I'm filling in the ends of my brows with a thicker hand. Then I'm filling in the beginning of my brows with a lighter hand. So I'm going in light strokes. You'll be needing a flat brush for concealing. This is very important as it helps with precision while concealing. I'm going in with Early Girl Concealer in Fawn. So I'm just going to tap on the brush to my concealer on my palm. You do not want to take too little and you do not want to take too much. You want to stay in between when applying concealer. I am dragging it down while applying it. You want to apply in this motion so it's easier to blend. So apply and drag down, then dab it into your skin. Getting to the beginning and ends of the brows, I'm going to be using my foundation shade. You want to flip your brush over to the other side for this part so it doesn't mix with the brighter concealer. Make sure your brows are properly aligned before going into blend. You'll be needing a bigger fluffy brush for this. I'm dabbing on some leftover concealer for this before blending it into my eye. In makeup, it's important that you don't just go in with a bare brush or blender to blend because it takes away rather than blending it. It's important you dab on some products to your brush or blender before blending it into your skin. I started by blending from the lower part and then extended it up a bit. While blending, I dabbed in, not drag or rub. Also, don't forget to blend in the beginning of your brows to give it a natural finish. You can decide to leave out the top of your brows after drawing, but if you want a more defined brow, you want to go in with your foundation shade. For the top, we're not going to pack on as much product as we did for the bottom brow. We're just going to pack on very minimal products just so it's easier to blend in. It's always easier to conceal the top part of your brows using the flat end of your brush. Just going in with the same fluffy brush to blend that in. I'm going in with the Mercier translucent powder and a round fluffy brush. It's an eyeshadow blending brush, so it's more rounded than flat. To set the concealer in place, I'm just going to dust off the excess from my brush and then set my eyes. I'm majorly focusing on my brow bone than the inner corners of my eye, just because my eyeshadow is still going to blend that out later on. You want to start with a good eyeshadow base. You could either go in with the primer or a concealer. Because this is a beginner friendly video, I'll be going in with a concealer. We are trying to maximize as many products as we can. I'm only applying to my eyelid. I'm not taking that up into my crease. Then I'm letting it dry down just a little bit before blending it out. So I'm blending it out from the outer corners inwards. Going into eyeshadow, I'll be starting with a transition shade using a round fluffy brush for blending. Always use a matte eyeshadow for a transition shade. Never go in with a shimmery eyeshadow as a transition shade. That is because matte eyeshadows don't have any shine to it and they are way easier to blend than a shimmery eyeshadow. I'm going to start blending from the outer corners inward. I'm blending that on my crease. I'm not blending it into my eyelid. Blending in circular motion. So there are three parts of the eye. There's the eyelid, the crease, and the brow bone. This will serve as a guide when applying eyeshadow. I went in with a burnt orange eyeshadow shade. Next, I'm going to go in with a deeper brown shade using a smaller blending brush. While transitioning, you want to start with a lighter shade, transitioning into a darker shade. That way it gives your eyeshadow depth. I'm just using the deeper eyeshadow to define my crease area. We're going to keep applying until we get our desired outcome. Then I'm blending it outwards at the end just to give my eye a lift. I'm going in with the first blending brush I used just to blend that out. You want to make sure that there are no sharp edges and the edges are well blended out. I'm going in with a darker shade of brown. As a beginner, it's way easier to stick with browns than to stick to black because browns are way easier to work with. So my advice would be to always stick to browns if you are not very good with eyeshadow. I'm basically just packing on products to the inner corner of my eye, then blending it out. I'm going in again with the same blending brush to buffer it out. Then I'm blending the leftover from the brush into my eyebrow just to give my eyebrow that natural finish. Notice I used just 2 brushes for the blending, so you really don't need to get a lot of brushes as a beginner. I'm dabbing on some concealer onto my eyelid for a base for my next eyeshadow. So you want to stay within the eyelid, do not extend it to the crease area. I'm going in with a flat blending brush for my next eyeshadow. So the difference between this is actually on the flatter side while the other is on a rounded side. So while applying eyeshadow on your eyelid, you are dabbing on the eyeshadow, not blending in circular motions as you would your transition colors. You want to blend with a heavy hand on your eyelid and then buffer the leftover eyeshadow into your crease with a light hand. I'm just using a lighter shade to pop up the inner corner of my eye with the other side of the brush. Then I flip it back and then blend in the eyeshadows together. I'm going in with the Mabrook liner for my waterline. I'm just going to drag my eye down a bit and then apply. It is also important to apply on your upper waterline. This really makes a difference in your makeup. For your eyeliner, you could either use a liquid liner or a pencil liner, but as a beginner, it's easier to use a pencil liner because it's easier to direct. You want to trace your liner from your lower lids and drag that up towards your hairline. Then connect it from the top part into your eyelid. It's also important that you use your pinky finger for support, just like this. You could also use your under eyeliner for this or a gel liner, but it has to be a really good eyeliner, unless it would not show on the face. I'm gonna give you a hack just in case you're drawing your wing liner and you make a mistake at the end. You just take a small blending brush, dip it in your black eyeshadow or dark brown eyeshadow, and then just blend that out upward and buffer it out with a brown eyeshadow. We are going to be prepping for our lashes by applying mascara first. I'm using a bonding glue and then I'm applying that to the strip of my lashes and I'm letting that dry down a bit. When applying lashes, you will need to look down, so you have to put your mirror a bit below you, then apply your lashes over your real eyelashes and apply them as close as possible to your real eyelashes, and then apply it from the middle. Then you stick it at the end and then press them together after it's dried up. Bonus tip: when pressing your lashes together, always push your lashes upward at the end just to give your eyes a lift. Going into the skin, I'll be starting off with a micellar water just to cleanse my skin. Then I'm kind of using that to also wipe out the edges of my eyeshadow. You want to start off with a very clean base. Then I'm letting that dry down a bit before going in with my toner. In skin prep, the key thing you want to note is you want to let your product sit in a bit before applying the next product. Next, I'll be going in with a rose water just to bring in more hydration to my face. It's important that you're well hydrated before foundation application. I'll be going in with a flat brush to apply my essence serum, but you could also use your hands for this process. The most important thing is you blend that in very well before foundation application. Then I'm going in with my moisturizer. And lastly, my primer. Because I have a combination skin, I'm just going to stick to applying my primer to my T-zone. But if you have an oily skin, you want to spread that out a bit more and use a mattifying primer. We're just gonna let that dry up a bit and make sure the product sinks into your skin. This step is really important before you go on with applying your foundation. I'm going in with the Maybelline foundation in coconut and warm bronze. I'm just gonna be mixing the two up to get my perfect shade. Before you apply your foundation with the beauty blender, it has to be damp, so you have to dip it into water. Make sure it's sinking, not floating. And then you bring it out, squeeze the water out, and use your paper towel to squeeze out the rest of the water on the sponge. The key is to make sure the sponge is as damp as possible and does not have any form of water in it anymore, so it does not take away foundation when blending. When blending in foundation, it's better you take it step by step. So you blend in one section of the face and go on to the next section of the face. When applying foundation to the forehead, you want to go with as little foundation as possible. If possible, go in with the leftover foundation from your beauty blender. And always go over your foundation again after blending, and always blend into your neck. I'm going in with the LA Girl Pro Concealer in Fawn to conceal my under eye. Then I'm just going to let that dry down a bit before blending out. So I'm just going to be applying the rule of blending here. I'm just going to dab on some product to my blender before blending out. If you are aiming for a bright under eye, do not go in directly with a bright concealer. You want to layer your concealer from the darkest to the lightest. So I'm just going in with a lighter concealer at the inner corner of my eye. You can totally skip this step if you want to. On my forehead and my chin, I'm not applying the product directly to my face because it usually leaves a mark when you do that. I'm just going to apply some product on my beauty blender and then blend it into my face. While I let that dry down a bit, I'm going to be going in with the black opal foundation. I'm going to be using that to contour. Going in with the other side of my beauty blender, I'm just going to tap on some product onto the blender and blend. So I'm applying it directly under my cheekbone. You want to be careful in your application, and then I'm blending it upward, not downward. So I'm just using the leftover to blend out my nose area and my chin area. I'm not going in with any other product. Then I flip the blender back to the concealer part and then blend out that area. I'm going in with product on my temples. Don't forget to contour your temples. This is really important as it brings the look together. I'm just blending it out to stop around my eyebrow arc area, leaving out the middle of my forehead. Flipping my beauty blender again to the concealer part and then blending that out together. You want to make sure you're doing a lot of blending to take out harsh lines and edges. I'll be going in with a flat brush to contour my nose. So I'm contouring from my eyebrow area down towards the bridge of my nose. You want to make sure they are as close as possible to each other so it gives you that slim nose effect. Going back into my concealer, I'm just going to blend that out now that it's dried up. Then I'm just going to push my highlights closer to my nose contour. I'm dabbing off the concealer on my blender and just using that to take out excess concealer at the inner corner of my eye. Then I'm just blending out my nose contour with the contour part of my beauty blender. I'm going in with my Watch Me Blush by TM Essentials. I'm just going to dab on my beauty blender to the product and apply my blush just right above where my contour lays. Do not forget to also apply leftover product on your temples. For setting, I'm going in with the Mercier translucent powder. You could either use a powder puff or your beauty blender. I'm just going to go in and blend my concealer again just so there are no creases before setting with powder, because whatever you set is what you get. You want to dab on your blender to the product and dust it off on your palm before applying. So you want to make sure your powder is sinking into your skin. So you have to set it first before baking. I'm I'm just getting to the areas where I feel like the setting powder didn't get to with my beauty blender. Then I'll just go ahead and bake. I'm going in with the Juvias Bronzed palette for my contour. I'm just going to be mixing up the two shades with a round fluffy brush. I'm just going to place that right where I place my cream contour, and I'm just going to blend. Then I'm going in with a lighter shade to contour my temples and my chin area. I'm going in with a rounded fluffy brush to powder up my face. I'm just going to powder my face all over using the V Beauty palette. You want to dab in, not rub. I'm going in with a smaller rounded fluffy brush for my blush. I'm just gonna apply that in a circular motion and blend it upward. And I'm just gonna filter that out into my temple. I'm going in with my eyeshadow blending brush to contour my nose. I'll be using the lighter shade of bronzer. You want to stay as close as possible to the bridge of your nose and then blend that into your eyebrow area. Make sure your lips are well moisturized before going in with a lipstick, as it helps with easy application. For precision, use a slim brush to apply your lipstick. That way it's easier to control. I'm just gonna map out my Cupid's bow first and then extend it out. Then I'm using a round blending brush to blend out. I'm then going in with a darker liner just to outline my lips. Then I'm going in with my lip gloss, starting from the inner corner of my mouth going out. I do this just so I don't mix up the two colors together. I'm going in with a small round fluffy brush, applying some products on it, dusting it off, and then blending out my setting powder. You want to press it in, not rub. I'm going in with the Nuban Beauty Setting Spray. I'm putting it as far away from my face as possible and then spraying it and letting that dry down. Then I'm going in with my mascara. Using my cheek glaze by Essentials, I'm just going to use that to highlight my cheek areas and where light falls on my face. Here's the final look, guys. Hope you learned a thing or two from this makeup tutorial. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.